Welcome back to our Karling restoration campaign. When we left off, I think we were going to immediately attack Forez here. It's going to be a bit of a big war because they're all part of a coalition against us and they're part of one of the Italian leagues that defy us. But based purely on numbers, it shouldn't be much of a conflict despite the many members of the war. In fact, I'd like a large war like this. We'll use it as an opportunity to crack down on some of the Imperial princes that continue to defy us. So we'll declare war straight away. I think we'll call in Denmark our personal union. They might as well make themselves useful. We also have quite a lot of money at the moment, as well as a high income. I'm thinking that it's time that we start building a big navy in preparations for an invasion of England. How big's England's navy? They got 73 heavy ships, 40 transports, 41 light ships, and 40 galleys. We'll have to see whether we can actually match them. It may take a while for us to build a large enough navy that we can fight them. Hypothetically, we don't necessarily need to fight them though, completely. Be able to call in our vassals and allies who have their own navies, though not many of them. I was hoping Denmark would have more of a navy, but no. As discussed, I guess we'll just start building our own. Let's try creating a template. Let's just say, I don't know, 10 heavy ships, and then we'll just say to build it. Let's say here, and let's, I guess, say it again. And that's all of our sailors gone. Perfect. That's much better than having to do it manually. I think we're likely going to dissolve the Milanese League again, just because I'd like to potentially end the League War if I can, and then we'll reduce Milan in size by forcing them to release vassals. We could also have them return land to some nations. Probably something like this, have them return land, release a nation. If things do look a little hairy, we can always call up mercenaries. Another thing I've realized is we can actually pay Imperial members to join our wars. And paying them doesn't take our money, it takes the money from the Imperial treasury. So for example, if we look over here at Poland, we could just say, Poland, join my war. We pay them 9,000 ducats from the Imperial treasury, and there we go, they're in our war. We probably should have been using that in a big way to really use the empire to fight our wars, but better late than never, right? When it comes to the Council of Trent, we failed 3 of our 4 laws we've tried to pass, and passed 1 successfully. I think we're likely going to fail all of them, but I'm not sure that's a big deal. I guess we'll try and pass something else anyway. Maybe let's try and reduce papal authority. I haven't really been using excommunications, but they are pretty nice. Although, it looks like they're not available after the Age of Traditions and the Age of the Renaissance anyway. So I think let's reduce the power of the papal state. Maybe we should try and do this in steps, not go all the way down for the option we want. So instead, let's go for this first option just below it. This will increase monthly religious influence for everyone by 0.10. Surely everyone will support it, or everyone will oppose it. Oh well. If the church isn't willing to reform, who are we to say otherwise? It's too bad we can't force religion on any of these states, or we'd be forcing everyone back to being Catholic. Instead, best we can do is kind of just dismember them, force them to release land, take war reparations and money. We've actually reached a point where nearly all of our free cities have become loyal. We've only got 1 disloyal free city left. Or maybe 2. Bern just decided to become disloyal. But we're on the cusp of basically everyone being happy, which of course is pretty excellent. Free cities are happy, they'll pay us more money, and they'll fight our wars. We can actually see that if we hover over the amount of money they pay us, that it's based on their loyalty. Most of these guys are now paying 100% because they're happy. Let's try and find those guys who are unhappy. Yes, we see here because they're a little disloyal, they're losing 3.5 of the income they would normally be sending to us. So because everyone's happy, they're all sending us a lot of money. And a lot of money are things I like to have. We're also going to take the chance to clean up a lot of these smaller states in France that have decided to join the war against us. We might as well remove them from the board. They're never going to like us. So just getting rid of them has its appeals. It will of course lead to more antagonism, but it's something we can stomach, I think. Since, as mentioned, we're going to be expanding our navy, we're going to slam down as many dry docks as we can. We could build fishing villages, but they provide such a paltry amount of sailors, I'm not even sure it's worth it. But since we've finished the construction of our first 20 heavy ships, let's build more. Another 20. We'll liberate some nations from Pisa, cut them down to size. They were never supposed to be big in the first place. They'd be much better suited to be a small, tiny, free city. Massive war engulfs England. It's likely the central English government will just win. I was hoping it would destroy some of their ships, but it doesn't look like it's going to. Oh well. Our son, young Francis, our only male child, and our only one of our 2 children, is a prodigy. That feels exactly as we want. Let's give him an expensive education. It's not really that valuable or worth it, but we're going to do it anyway. It feels thematic. Let him be the next truly good Holy Roman Emperor. As discussed, our debate failed. This may be the last thing we can potentially pass, or likely not pass, in the church. So let's maybe think about this. I don't really want to change it so priests can marry, because priests not being able to marry increases communalism. I think we're just going to try and change this one. I don't really like traditionalism as opposed to innovativism, at least until we've embraced all of the institutions that exist. So we'll just try and knock it down one step. We'll just try and reduce it so it doesn't increase traditionalism. Surely everyone can get behind that. And it seems not. Oh well, we'll just have to accept, I think, that the Council of Trent is likely going to end in failure. Not nice to say, but it likely is what it is. Gelders, you've long been a thorn in my side. I think we're actually just going to full annex these guys. They hate us, and they're never going to stop hating us, and they've hated us for hundreds of years. Although, maybe I'm being a little too cruel. Maybe they don't hate us that much. But I think we're going to kill them anyway. They've been a thorn in our side for too long. We're just going to remove them from the board. Nobody will like it, but I like it. I do wish there was some sort of peace we could make with banks to destroy them. I suppose we could block them from building buildings in our territory, but most of these banks don't have buildings in our territory. They have buildings in other people's territory, and that's why they continue to survive. I wonder if it affects our vassals. They have a location here they have a bank in. We'll see. We'll tell them they can't build buildings in our territory once we've gained enough war score, and then we'll see if that destroys the locations they control in our vassals' territory. Is there an experience more pleasant than dismembering these arrogant imperial princes and restoring the small little nations that they've annexed back to the world? I don't think so. It was always fun in EU4, and now it's fun here as well. Especially when we can make them free cities just after releasing them, turning them into our vassals. Looks like the final vote in the Council of Trent is going to end in failure for the Reformites, which I suppose is us. Oh well, I guess we'll see what happens when the Council of Trent fails. Council of Trent ends. Council of Trent has convened in the hopes of reconciling the various schismatic churches that have emerged in the wake of the Lutheran Reformation. But after a seemingly endless series of debates and negotiations, the results have been inconclusive. The decision has finally been made to disband the council. May God have mercy on the souls of those who have not returned to the church. We're not so different after all. Catholicism now views all religions in the Reformation as kindred. I suppose that's nice. How do we currently view them? Although, we already view them as kindred. Maybe it's already gone into effect even though I haven't pressed the button. But yes, we already view them as kindred. I'm not sure we did before though. So at least we'll have less problems from reformed people in our lands. Yes, if we look at these Lutheran pops, their main unhappiness is from our tolerance of them, not because they're angry at being part of our nation. So that's nice. At least we'll avoid the Lollard problem we had where the Catholics really hated being a part of our glorious Lollard People's Republic. I'm not sure when it happened, but Austria actually joined the war. That's nice. Austria is a country that can be quite dismembered if we look at them. There's lots of nations we could release from inside them. We'll probably focus on releasing the small ones, single city states, which can be turned into free cities. And then we'll think about releasing the more larger nations. We've gained enough imperial authority to pass another issue, so we're just going to continue marching down the imperial peace option. We're only 2 away from getting that imperial comfort policy, and then we can transition to something else. Or we could just outlaw internal warfare entirely. We'll have to see what the situation's like. The Voids had enough. We'll dismember them, revoke some of the cores they have on us, which may improve their opinion of us. We are winning this war a tad too hard, so now we're getting called for peace, which increases our war exhaustion, but I'd prefer to keep the war going even at the cost of war exhaustion. We'll see how things go. I would really like to take the Austrians apart, but if the war's really going to drag on, maybe it's better that we end it sooner rather than later. But at the very least, I very much want to cut Milan down to size, if nothing else. So we'll be doing that regardless. Once we take their capital, that should be that really. They should surrender. And there we go, the Milanese have had enough. We'll force them to dissolve their league and release this nation up here. I'm pretty sure we've released them before, but I guess we're releasing them again. And I think that'll be it for the war. So we'll just full annex Res here. People aren't going to like it, but when do they ever like it? What we do, have them revoke all the cores they have, take as much money as we can. Savoy and the banks are people who are going to take the most offense, and I'm willing to accept that. And there we go, peace 1. How close are we to forming France now? 190 out of 335. Still a ways away, but at this point we control nearly all of France. There's only Savoy, Provence, and some small miscellaneous locations up here that are outside of our control. And of course all of our vassals. Once we integrate them, we should pretty much just be France. Now, is it time for us to take the offensive towards the Hungarians? Well, I've managed to grab an Imperial band CB. Problem is, if we go to war with them, they're going to call in Poland. Although, Poland isn't that keen on joining them. If we improved Poland's opinion of us a little bit, we might be able to get them to not join. It's 24 to 22. So let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Do I also still have my I still have my spy network in Hungary. So let's insult or at least sabotage the relations between Poland and Hungary. Was that enough to push them? It was. That was enough to push them out. The Polish aren't willing to join. Excellent. We'll call in the Bohemians because they're right on the border. And now let's take down Hungary. We could also summon someone into the war. I guess we could summon the Austrians, although I suppose they have a 10,000 men left. Let's summon the Austrians in. It'd be funny if we summoned Milan. We could as well. We could summon Milan just after beating them up, but they're not really in a position to really help. Could we summon Brandenburg? I guess we'll summon Brandenburg. Now that I've realized I can summon these people, I want to. Especially since the Imperial Treasury has so much money in it. I feel like we might as well use it. Since we can only take land that's part of the Empire in this war, we're going to focus on just releasing nations that are part of the HRE that Hungary has occupied. We could release things further afield like Transylvania. Maybe we'll do that just to weaken them. Or Bosnia. Problem is these territories up here, because we can't return cores, I can't return these lands to Austria or Moravania, who are up here. So we're going to have to take these lands for ourselves. It's not what I really want to do, but there's not really any other option. Are these guys up here an Imperial Prince? They are, and they're subjugated by the Hungarians, so maybe we should release them from their control. It's going to be very expensive, 80%, so I guess not. I guess we'll just focus on taking these lands, releasing the people we want to release. I guess we'll release Bosnia as well. Probably won't be able to get them to join the HRE, but weakening Hungary is always nice. I think it should cut Hungary off from the coast as well. Not that them being on the coast was a real problem. And I've just noticed that Croatia is actually independent and they also control land that was rightfully part of the HRE from when they were part of Hungary. So I think we'll think about jumping on them as well and liberating more HRE land from the control of people who maybe aren't rightfully allowed to control that land. Our daughter has come of age, old Denise. We're going to marry her, and we're going to marry her to a member of the Karling dynasty. There's this very old 66-year-old Frederick Wilhelm Karling. Is there anyone younger? There's a few younger people, actually. Maybe this Ludwig Karling would be a better option. Just in case our son ends up dying. It could happen. He's 10. He could definitely die and not have any children, so just in case, we're going to set things up so that there is a line of succession and we don't have to worry about potentially losing our dynasty. It'd be nice if our ruler could have more children, but it doesn't look like that's something he wants to do. And on that note, the war with the Hungarians is over. We'll take a few ducats from them, and then we'll release all the land they control that is part of the HRE. We'll release Bosnia. We'll take all this land that we can't hand out to anybody. It's weird that we can't return cores as part of this war. It feels like an Imperial band CB would be all about returning land to people, right? We'll take this land for ourselves. We could just hypothetically give it over to the people that want it. We could sell them the locations, but it's going to be pretty tedious to sell all these locations. So I think what we'll do is we'll just release some subjects here to govern the land on our behalf, and then we'll probably just never integrate them. Not our problem what happens to them, right? Maybe we will even release them from being our vassals at a later date. I don't think so, though. We'll probably just keep them around. And there we go. The Holy Roman Empire in the East has been restored. How wonderful. Now I guess it's time to turn our attention elsewhere. The Castilians have finally managed to end their civil war, which now means there is an ample opportunity to attack them. The Aragonese, though, are also very weak. I'm thinking we go for them instead. They're also allied with Provence. We could use the war as an excuse to maybe steal a little land from Provence. Yeah, I think we're going to go with Aragon instead of Castile. I mean, we could hypothetically attack Castile mid-war, depending on what the situation looks like. But for now, let's focus on fighting these Aragonese before we make any outlandish claims. The empire must be restored. And we're doing pretty good. We're gaining a lot of imperial authority every month, nearly a single point of imperial authority a month. The empire has never really been better than it is right now. Speaking of which, maybe it's time we demand some internal peace from the members of the empire. It'll take 300 days for the debate to happen, but after it, there'll be imperial peace for 5 years where members won't be able to declare war on each other. Speaking of declare war on each other, I see that, Milan. I see you trying to sneakily annex that nation we released from you. So we're going to stop them. Let's see how much this costs us. Well, I'd like to see if it would let me. We currently have 40.64 imperial authority. Let us demand they make peace. And it didn't look like we lost any imperial authority. I guess it only takes money. I thought it took imperial authority. I swear it said it took imperial authority, but if it doesn't, that's just as good. I'd rather it didn't take imperial authority. Imperial peace enforced, and we've gained enough imperial authority to march down to the next level of imperial peace. So we'll grab that. That'll give us the comfort policy we need. Well, not that we need another one after that. So we'll likely start marching down the military laws so that we can drain manpower from the princes of the empire. All for the greater good, of course. Even though we're still at war with Aragon, I think we are going to attack Croatia now. Our CB has come online, and I'd rather not delay it. They have Ferrara in the war, so we're going to use the war to try and cut down on Ferrara. If we could get them to disband their league, it may boost us enough that we can win the league war. Seems unlikely, though. Well, the problem is we disband leagues and they almost immediately reform. Oh well, let's crush the Croatians, since the Milanese aren't doing anything with their lives. Oh, wait a minute. Because we went to war with the Pope, who was a member of the league, a load of people left our league. Is that really how it's supposed to work? Oh well. The Pope did become independent because somebody gave them back their cores, but hopefully it won't be a big deal, because all of those people that left were just our subjects. They should rejoin the league, probably once the war's over, I guess. We've beaten up Provence. We're just going to have them release Genoa, who they've conquered, and the single subject up here. We'll come back for them. I want to fight Provence, probably in a single war, where we declare war on them ourselves. Unfortunately, there's no one with a real cause in their territory that we could release, so it's likely just going to be us calling probably a parliamentary CB on them and trying to cut them down to size. For some reason, Hungary's actually joined this war. They allied with Aragon after the war started, but I'm not that concerned about them. Oh, I've made a mistake here because this is a Imperial banned CB. We can't actually take land from Ferrara. What a disappointment. A genuine mistake on my part. But oh well. Means we'll just have to fight Ferrara in a different conflict. We could dismantle the Ferraran forts, but you know, I don't think I care to. Ah, we finally annexed Normandy. About time. That puts us to 217 locations in France. Now we can start thinking about integrating the much smaller nations we have vassalized in the French area. We need to end our war first, of course. Once we do that, we'll start thinking about integrating the smaller countries as fast as possible. And we'll leave the bigger ones for later. Ah, young Francis has come of age. We're throwing him a party and then he can get to work. He's pretty good stat-wise, 100, 159, laying the side down a bit when it comes to the mill. We can have him join a chivalric order though, buff him up, 75, pretty decent. Let's marry him quickly in the hopes that he breeds. We can marry the princess from Sweden. We're going to hope our ruler dies soon so that old Francis can come to the throne and have a long and successful reign. The Aragonese have had enough. What we're going to do is we're also going to take the islands of Majorca, and then we're going to release a nation there. Outside of that, we're going to return a lot of this land to our vassals. We're going to return most of Aragon to Catalonia to rule. And I think that will be that. Is there anything more we could do? We could probably return just a small, tiny bit extra. Valencia hasn't expanded. Maybe we should expand them a little. We'd need to rack up more war score though, and it would leave them fractured. Maybe we should just leave it there. I think we'll leave it there. We'll take all that land. Finally push the Iberians out of France. Catalonia is now big. I just need to finish the war with the Croatians. The Croatians actually willing to surrender. We just need to get 10 war score for them to surrender. And there we go, Croatia defeated. I think this little location here is actually part of the HRE as well, so we're going to demand it. But other than that, I think we're done. We'll end the war. We released an Imperial Prince, gives us a little Imperial authority. All princes are now pretty much liberated. I'm not seeing any land that is still occupied. Oh, wait a minute. I think we missed a location here. We did, yeah. Zadar. This can't be happening. Oh well. Guess it just means we'll need to grab them again at a later date. Let's start integrating somebody. Who would be integrated the fastest? They would be a year. They would be 5 years. We want someone fast. They would be a year. They would be this year. I think we'll go with that then. We'll integrate these guys because it's going to take less than a year. We're going to have a minor revolt here, so we're just going to remove all of the forts, and then we'll let them revolt, and we should just crush them. You Ferezites should know when you're beaten. We've racked up the Imperial authority, so as we talked about, we're going to start walking down the military route. This is going to upset people, but it's the only thing we have left, I think, that we can get a comfort policy from. Let me just check. I suppose instead we could start going down the electoral policies. This might be a better idea because there's only 2 policies we need to pass to get the Imperial Comfort Policy. This will get everyone in the Empire though, and it would cost us around 125 Imperial Authority. If we compare that to going down the military laws route, how much would that cost? 50, 100, 150, 200, no, 225. So it would be a lot faster to just go down the other route, and this would upset people anyway, because they'll have to start contributing to the Empire's manpower. So I think instead we're going to crack down on the electorate. Just reduce the amount of people that can vote. We don't really need it though, because we're comfortably winning every election. The electors all love us at the moment. Annexation of that small little nation complete. This is going to definitely upset people, me integrating all these nations, mainly our vassals, but it's not the end of the world. Next we'll integrate these guys. It's going to take less than a year. We are going to need to start improving relations with the vassals though. As I said, a lot of them are going to lose relations because we're integrating people, so we'll need to see about increasing them back up. Let's keep expanding our navy. We are a little behind on it because we've been running out of sailors, but now that we've gained control of Normandy, our sailor income can expand. There we go, limited electors has been passed. This should reduce the amount of electors, but I don't see them decreasing. Maybe we have to wait a little. Let's wait a month. There's currently 7 electors. I believe one is supposed to be taken away from each. I'm not seeing it. Oh well, it's not like I really wanted to decrease the electors anyway. Strange though. Might be the sort of thing that just takes time, or maybe we have to do it. For example, if we click on the weakest elector, do we have the option? Yeah, we can rescind elector status. Not sure why we'd want to do that though. It'll massively reduce our Imperial authority, taking 25 points. I'd rather just leave the electors around. As long as they're voting our way, I don't mind. We've got about 60 heavy ships now. Would this be enough to beat Britain? I don't think so. They have 48 heavy ships, 25 light ships, 41 galleys. To be fair though, we don't necessarily need to beat them. We just need to be able to land in Britain where we can fight them. We'll leave it for now though. We've managed to re-increase our numbers in the Italian war just because everyone rejoined after the war ended. And there goes our ruler, Gustav Wilhelm. Died at 73. He's been succeeded by his heir, Emperor Francis V Karling. Welcome to the throne. Now please have a child of some kind. And what better way to welcome an emperor to the throne than some kind of war? I think it's time we once again go to war with Castile with the intent of returning more land to our vassals. So let's do just that. Who should we focus on expanding this time? Is Navarra at its full height? I think it was last time I checked, yeah. Leon is someone we could expand a bit. We could also return some more land to Catalonia, get them to greater heights. Valencia is also small, and there's still Granada that needs to be expanded. We'll just see how it goes. Declare war. Aha, a child has been born. Welcome to the world, Gustav William. The 6th, no, the 5th he would be, if he does live to take the throne. We've once again achieved the Holy Roman authority required for us to pass another law. We're going to go down to integrated electors. Here we go. The weakest prince elector and weakest archbishop elector lose their position in the empire. This is an imperial comfort policy, so once this is done, we can begin centralizing the empire. And we'll likely rush down that quite fast. First we'll improve imperial authority, then we'll revoke the privilege, and potentially we'll merge the empire into a single nation. Rome will be reborn, though perhaps not as it was intended to be. We've brought the electors to heel. Who got pushed? It was Murbach, I believe, was the archbishop elector, but I'm not sure who the prince elector was who got pushed. Bohemia's still here, Brandenburg's still here, Saxony's still here. I'm not sure, as I said. Could have been anyone. If I was paying attention, I probably would have noticed. But either way, what do we want from this war with Castile then? I'm thinking this be the Leon War. We'll try and expand Leon to their full height. See how it is on war score. Unfortunately, we're just a few locations too many to have a fully online and operational Leon. I think we'll still try and give them as much land as possible though, just to really strengthen them. They should be a okay counter to Castile in the area, and at the very least Castile can waste time sieging their lands down. Oh, and our son Gustav Wilhelm has been gifted. Not as good as his dad then, not a prodigy, but gifted will do. We like good successors. It's about time the House of Karlings started putting out actual competent successors. Not that our previous rulers weren't competent, but maybe we should demand a little more than competency. The empire needs the best after all. And a second son too, just in case. Perfect. And oh, how curious, it seems our wife has ended up becoming the Queen of Sweden. Looks like her brother converted to Anglicanism, and that removed him from the line of succession. So young Gustav Wilhelm will inherit not just the Danish and Dutch crowns, but also the Swedish crown. I didn't really intend to, but I guess we're going to build a large-scale crown network across Northern Europe. There's Castile done in. We're going to give a lot of land back to Leon. Not all of it though, just because we can't afford to give all of it. But that's what the next wars will be for, of course. Big Leon be restored to the world. Let's continue annexing. It's upsetting a lot of our free city subjects, all of this annexation of our vassals, but let them be upset, I say. I'm not that bothered. If we are worried that one of them is going to declare independence, we can just give them independence by stopping them being a free city, and then potentially just restore them back to being a free city again. I am becoming increasingly worried that we'll end up forming the HRE before we form France, which will lock us out from forming France. With that in mind, I'm going to rush a little bit with integrating our vassals. How far are we from forming France? Still 100 or so locations away. Maybe it's time we go to war against Provence. Problem is we don't actually have a CB, and peace is currently reigning in the empire. I don't think this is a permanent peace, at least I hope it isn't. I assume permanent peace was outlaw internal war, but we're still not there, so I'm assuming this peace will end at some point. Fortunately, I can't see where the peace end is, if it does have an end, but I can always revoke the law if it did enforce permanent peace. We'll just have to keep an eye on things. For some reason, Castile has decided to attack Genoa. We'll of course accept, we'll defend the empire from their vile machinations. This will of course make everyone in the empire like us a little better, which is something we kind of need right now. Our various subjects have become very disloyal from all the integrating of vassals we've done. So improving our relationships with them by defending the empire would be very nice. Though because we're not the leader of this war, we can't take much, unless of course we separate peace. The Holy Roman Empire is still experiencing the war being blocked, which is making me scared that maybe we have accidentally brought about an internal peace within the empire. It was supposed to enforce peace for 10 years, so if we reach 1580 and the peace is still enforced, we'll know that we've accidentally reached a permanent peace, but we should just be able to revoke the reforms to get rid of that. England, for whatever reason, has joined this war. That's a little annoying because I was literally just plotting my plan to get a claim on them and destroy them, and I don't think I can fabricate claims while I'm at war. Wouldn't make sense. But I suppose we could use this as a chance to try and destroy the English Navy. We have 70 heavy ships, surely enough to destroy anything that moves. And the English Navy has been quite reduced down to only 100 ships, 50 of which are heavy ships. So let's see if we can't use our new model navy, fresh from the production yards, to maybe do some damage to the English one, though I doubt they're going to want to be seen in front of us. They're likely just going to run and hide. If we do spot them, we could potentially do some damage. Since the English have decided to come on over to our side of the world, we should really treat them as our honoured guests and destroy them. Now, of all the things they could have done, it was siege this one free city here deep within our land. I hope they're happy with their choice, because it's not what I would have chosen. Let's see if we can't send them off. Looking pretty good. We're dealing heavy casualties. It's good to get an experience fighting the English now in preparation for when we cross the sea and deal with them. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty devastating loss for them, especially since they're not going to be able to retreat. They're going to be trapped up here in France. If we chase them down, they'll be stack wiped to the Pales men. Oh yeah, England does control this land up here still, so I guess that's where they're going to retreat to. Maybe they won't be fully stack wiped, at least not yet. They may try and evacuate their army that's stranded up here. It looks like they're massing troops in Dover. That might be excellent. If they bring their navy over, we might be able to jump them using our ships. We'll have to keep an eye on the situation. To be fair, keeping an eye on the situation is what we tend to do. I'm not really sure what Genoa's going to demand from the war. Hopefully it's nothing too outlandish, as I'm not sure I want to see the Genoese expand. The English navy refuses to do combat with us, which I suppose is a good thing. If they're not willing to fight us, it means they shouldn't get into the way of our attempted landings in England. With that in mind, it's probably time to start considering building some transport ships. 40 or so should be enough, surely. We're going to begin centralizing the empire. We've actually maxed our imperial authority when I wasn't looking, so it's about time we improve things. Some English navies have been trapped here in the tip of the Netherlands around Amsterdam. If we siege down the provinces, they should be annihilated when they attempt to flee into the sea where we are. There's a lot of Englishmen up here though. Whoop. They're going to attack the guys who are sieging up there. I don't think we're going to make it in time. Nope. I'm not even sure we can beat them. Well, I guess we're doing it. There might just be a little too many of them. No, it looks like, yep, we pushed them back. Too bad they didn't call up the soldiers in the fort to help, then we would have taken the city. Ooh, they're trying it again. They might just wear us down with their massed levy armies. We continue to win though, but our manpower numbers are very low now. We'll need to pull back to resupply our army. Luckily the siegers have the numbers that the English were unable to rout them, but for some reason they retreated into our lands and now they're coming back. We're not going to get there in time, let's pull back. We still need to let our manpower replenish. I should probably expand my armies, I haven't been doing so I'm still walking around with the same stack of around 10 units of infantry. Remember the good old days when we had a pure cavalry stack? For some reason England just threw a bunch of their ships at us. Now they're very much reduced. They're still doing it as well. It's not even the ships that are trapped here, they're throwing other ships at us. I don't really know why. Oh well, there's the war over. Oh no, that was just the war with England. It doesn't like they demanded anything, they just made peace. England surrendered. We gained 4 or so imperial authority for winning that war. Still at war with Castile though, we'll have to see what the Genoese decide to do. If they decide to do anything, giving me provincial land would be nice. I doubt it's what they'll do though. Oh, there we go. So what did the Genoese demand? Looks like they did give some land to us. They gave us Cisteron and 2 other locations, looks like in Provence. They released some nations, looks like in Africa, from Castile. Castile gave them money. They annulled their treaties with England, Portugal, and they got war reparations. Oh, and Provence. That'll do, I guess. Let's start integrating that bit of land the Genoese gave us in Nice, in Cisteron. Continue annexing the small French vassals. It might be time for us to start to get to the work on the big ones like Aquitaine, Toulouse, Brittany. How many locations are we off forming France? We're around 60, 63 locations. Toulouse has 32, Aquitaine has 43, Brittany has 27, Champagne has 11, this tiny guy here only has 1. This guy down here's got 6. This guy's also got 1. This guy's got 2. This guy's got 1. We might have to start revoking locations, because as I said, I'm scared we're going to be able to form the HRE and we'll have to wait until we form France. Although it's you know, it's not a colossal thing. Definitely not the end of the world by any metric, if that is what happens. Maybe we don't even want to form the HRE too early. Maybe we want to continue to spread the HRE and release countries that are then part of the HRE and become our vassals. I'm not sure. I haven't been thinking too hard. Thinking isn't one of my strong suits, as you've probably realized from watching these videos. We're almost at the point where we can revoke the privilege. This will force all members to either leave the Empire or swear an oath of loyalty to us. And if anybody does leave, we'll gain cause on their land, so I'm interested to see how that will play out. For now though, I think we're going to leave the video here. How's the religious situation looking? Martin Luther's dead, been dead for 31 years. In order for the Reformation to end, we need the War of Religions to start. I'm not sure what the criteria is for it to start, but I suppose we'll either see or we won't. On the cultural side of things, Walloon is starting to spread a little. We almost number our actual Francian population. We definitely outnumber pretty much everybody else in the country. We'll have to see if that changes once we integrate Toulouse, Aquitaine, and of course Brittany. One thing I've been wondering is we can unify our culture group in the Age of Revolutions. How does that work if you have multiple culture groups? Because Walloon, of course, is part of the Dutch, French, and German culture groups. So if we unified our culture group, which culture would it unify? Would it just unify the first one, the Dutch one? Or would it reunify every culture that it has that's a part of its culture group? I'm unsure. I'm not sure we'll play long enough to find out, because I feel like we're going to reach a point where this campaign's kind of over pretty soon. But either way, as I said, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Next time we're probably going to crush England. I despise their continued existence. In fact, don't have enough diplomats, or I'd immediately start fabricating a destroy enemy CB on them. I'd like to balkanize England and add all of its parts to the HRE. We'll bring back Cornwall, bring back Wales. Scotland's kind of getting eaten, so if Scotland gets fully eaten, we'll bring them back as well. And even if they don't get fully eaten, maybe we'll be the ones that eat. But either way, thank you again for watching, for I think the third time, and I'll see you next time.